everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Cathy Curry. Cathy is running for election for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 4, Kanata North. Thank you, Cathy, for your time, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Vincenzo.
Well, it's great to have you here today, and today is episode 50 of the Political Job Interview of this election period. So it's great to have you be a part of this great project that I've been doing, and thank you for being a part of it.
Well, congratulations to you. That's good for you, 50. That's amazing.
It's great, and yeah, let's get this started. As with any good job interview, I'm going to start off with an opportunity to learn more about Cathy. So the first question, Cathy, is can you tell me a bit about yourself and your story?
Sure. So I've lived in Canada for almost 30 years, and I started my career here, I guess, as an English teacher. I was a high school English teacher to start off with and taught for a number of years. And then I had four kids, one after the next. And they're all adults right now. But while they were growing up and I couldn't really teach full time, I stayed involved in education by being a school board trustee and ended up being chair of the board. And after that, as my kids began to grow, and they, were involved in quite a lot of sports, hockey, lacrosse, volleyball, you name it. I stayed involved by being on other boards. So I'm on a number of other boards. Well, I actually have had to stop because I'm your current city councilor right now for Kanata North, but I still stay on the CHIO board. And I'll talk about some of the other boards in another question that I feel you've got coming up. But right now I'm your city councilor for Kanata North by an appointment process. And I'm really enjoying that.
So I'm sure we're going to continue talking about that and talking about the appointment process and how you came along to becoming the counselor. But I wanted to ask you, and I guess this could sort of go for recently when you were appointed and signed up to be one of the people to be considered for appointment. And I guess again now, I wanted to ask you, why have you decided to run for this position? I guess initially and now again.
Yeah. Well, originally when I was appointed, I was not in no way at that stage of my life was I intending to be a city councilor, and I didn't have plans to do that. I was, as I told you, and I'll tell you later, I was on a number of boards and I was loving them. And Jenna, our former councilor, decided to become the MP, and they needed a city councilor. And so a number of people reached out to me, people from former school board days and friends of mine and media people who said, Cathy, you should consider this. You did a great job as school board chair, and why don't you think about this? So I hemmed and hawed. I'm almost done my master's of counseling psychology, Vincenzo, and I knew that the courses would end probably close to the end of the what would be the term of council. So I thought I could do this. I know I'm capable. It just it was a timing matter. So I decided to put my name in, and I was chosen. So that was wonderful. And they asked me at the time, do you think you'll run again? And I said, I don't have plans to do that right now because I was thinking that I would just do it for that interim period. But convince me if you went back to the recording. Let me know, if you really think it's a job someone would like to do. So as I've continued on, and it was wild at the beginning, I have grown to like it and I've been encouraged to do it. So hence I decided to put my name in now for the councillor job.
Well, you came in at the very crazy moment, in sort of like if you could call it the peak of what was going on in Ottawa City Council during the convoy and during the multiple city problems. So you haven't been around on council for long, but you've definitely seen a lot of what it was like, and you're running again now to become the elected councillor.
Well, Vincenzo, I've said to a lot of people at the doors when I'm talking to people, I say, we had first budget, I had no staff. So I had to be hiring. Then we had the convoy. Then we had Omicron. Then we had the second convoy. Then we had the hydro power outage on top of the golf course. Then the flooding of the beaver pond. I say, what was coming next? Locust? Was it me? Was it they pointed me and I brought all this about? Hopefully not.
Let's take a bit of time now to talk about the job and what Cathy brings to it. So I wanted to ask you, Cathy, I know you've already talked a bit about this, but maybe time to talk about the board work you've done. What experience do you bring to this job?
Well, my education first I'll start with. So I have a bachelor's of arts in honors English language and literature, and I have a master's of science in education. And as I told you earlier, I'm finishing my master's of counseling psychology. I just have my practicum work to do. So in terms of my education background, I think from that alone, I bring quite a lot. As an English teacher, you are a communicator. You teach students to communicate as best they can in their writing and in their communication skills verbally. So I bring that to it. But As your school board trustee and chair, I learned a lot about board governance. So I think I have a very strong governance background, and that I think shows with the fact that I've been asked to be on so many other boards, which are the CHIO board, the Ottawa Community Foundation Grants Committee, the Ontario Centre of Excellence for Children and Youth Mental Health, the Caldwell Family Centre Board, the Ronald McDonald House Board, and the Ottawa Fusion Volleyball Board, which is with my kids when they were playing volleyball, which is also a lot of fun. But Vincenzo, you can see the difference in governance models for those boards are very different. So on council, being on the Hydro Ottawa board and being on the Ottawa Police Services board, in addition to Planning Committee, Finance and Economic Development Committee, the IT Subcommittee, and Transit, the models for governance vary. And I think any city councillor needs to have a good understanding of what governance is. A lot of people think governance, it just means you're a governor. It's a lot more sophisticated than that. So I bring that to the table.
So I wanted to ask you now, what sets you apart from the other candidates who are running for election?
Well, I mean, part of it is that strong governance background. But, you know, before I was a school board trustee, I organized what we called the Kanata Interschool Council, which was a council that met every month. I asked all the council chairs from all of the schools in Kanata, and that was Kanata North and South Vincenzo at the time, not just Kanata North. So 15 schools, and we met once a month, and everyone reviewed what was going on in their schools, what did they need help with, what could they collaborate on. So when I became city councillor here, that was the first thing I thought about for community associations. And so I said to all the community associations, I'd like to come to all your meetings, and I'd like to take a representative from each one of them and meet with you each month so that you can share that. And they were so pleased with that, in addition to the Kanata North Transportation Committee and in addition to our 2 BIAs. So we meet once a month. So that personality, and to me, that comes naturally, that I want to bring people together so we can collaborate and talk about things. I think that type of person should be a community builder or a leader in terms of a government representative, because Vincenzo, if you don't know what the people you're representing think, then how are you supposed to represent them? So, you know, if you just email, and you have to email, if you just are on the phone with a few people, you get a little bit of information. But when you bring together community leaders once a month and hear their varying different opinions and their needs, that's what you need to have to represent people properly. And so I think that is a big part of what I bring.
Well, that point you made about being a counselor and serving the people and listening to what your constituents are saying, that's exactly how this show was born for the past year or so. When I was doing other interviews for other shows on this channel, I sort of always put an emphasis on the fact that it's the constituents that choose their local representative, and it's like a hiring process. They hire the candidate, and that's how the political job interview was born. I said, listen, people are choosing their candidate. Let's hear from them in a political job interview, a job interview sort of thing. And that's just so important to serving your community, serving them and listening to them.
Well, and you're doing that, Vincenzo. You're doing really important work. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. And again, great to have you be a part of this. Part of serving as an elected official is serving the people who elect you. So a few questions now about how Cathy wants to serve the people. So the first question is, what's something that the people of Kanata North need that you want to get done if elected?
So there are quite a few projects. I do want to focus on one, and you can probably appreciate this. So the golf course issue and the green space issue has been one that has been going on for many years now. And people who live on the golf course and people who live around the golf course, because Vincenzo, that 6 months of the year, that area is a public park. It is not a private course all year long, right? So the entire community can use it. They look out on that every day with not how lovely this is. I mean, I'm sure they think that, but also the feeling of this could be gone one day. This may leave us. We may not have this anymore. And it kills me that they have to look at it that way. And I tell people at the doors, please don't look outside and think, oh my gosh, this is going to be destroyed. Just enjoy it now, because there are many ways that we can make sure development doesn't take place on that golf course. Beyond the 40% agreement and the legal matter that is actually going on right now as we speak, there's also 192 conditions that mean that no development likely will ever take place there. However, here is the thing. There is a way to get this done more quickly and not have it continue on for 20 years. For me to say at the doors, this probably won't take place for 20 years, people think, oh my gosh, I have 20 more years of this. This is crazy. And this is stressful. So I'd like to get that finished, and it will take help from the province, I believe, to make it solidified that it will not take place. Development will not take place on the golf course. So I'd say that's one thing I'd just like to get done. However, there's so many other great projects, including the Hydro Corridor project, which means, creating this eco district all the way through the Hydro Corridor, which people would like in Kanata North, but I feel people might like all the way through Ottawa. The Hydro Corridor goes all the way through. So those are two I would highlight. But I will say, though, the tech park vision, because it's sort of already set about having the community colleges and the universities have residences there, I'd really like to see that really get legs and get going, and for the community to understand it better, because they are excited about it, but they should really see the vision.
So finally, I wanted to ask you, what's one accomplishment that you've achieved that demonstrates why you'll be a good elected official if the people choose you?
Well, I sort of always go back to this Kanata Interschool. I don't mean to copy that example, but when I set that Kanata Interschool Council up, people looked at that, and I know other city councilors even have adopted this, and other school board trustees, and in other areas the province school board trustees have taken it on, because of the concept that we talked about earlier, that if you want to represent people, you have to talk to people. I'm naturally an extrovert, as you see, but just setting something up like that, and I know people think, oh, it's just another meeting, but I can tell you those opportunities are like gold for people, for each other. And I would often never even know. Afterwards, I'd hear months later, they'd say, oh, well, Cathy, so-and-so and I talked afterwards, and we set up this big thing, and then we ran this wonderful event for the community. We had all the kids out, and I think, oh, who knew? You never know, right? And in tech, they call it creative collisions, where people, when they're together, they mention something, someone says something, and then something happens. And so I think I like to be the person that starts that and gets that going, and then let people do as they will to do good for the community. So I think that is something that I really am proud of, and I would certainly continue, because it's sort of my way.
Thank you, Cathy, so much for joining me today. It was really great having you, and I'm sure the viewers have really enjoyed hearing what you have to offer to them. Election Day is on October 24th, 2022, and if you liked hearing what Cathy Curry had to say and live in Ward 4, Kanata North, you have the opportunity to vote for her on Election Day. Check with your local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at VC Productions25. Check out my website, VincenzoCalla.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, and just get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCalla production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.